this does make a rather loud EV sound that I will attempt to get some B-roll of driving around here in this parking garage. Hey gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey, and this is a 2026 Honda CR-V in the new Trailsport Hybrid trim. Yes, this is the first Honda Trailsport model to employ a hybrid powertrain, and in this video I will investigate, after a week's worth of living with this one, what you can expect if you plan on snagging one of these. The first thing I want to do is say a huge thank you to Honda for bringing me this new 2026 CR-V Trailsport Hybrid all-wheel drive. I have been very impressed with this, and in fact, this is my second stint with this particular one. They actually brought it to the Texas Auto Riders Texas Truck Rodeo, where I got to sample it off-road. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in a moment, but I do want to talk about what powers this because, as I mentioned in the intro, this is the first Trailsport model to employ a hybrid powertrain. Here we have a 2-liter, 4-cylinder, 2-motor hybrid system, so no traditional transmission in this. And yes, we have that 2-liter non-turbo 4-cylinder under the hood. Here we get 204 horsepower and 274 pound-feet of torque, sending power to all 4 wheels via Honda's excellent 4-wheel drive system. And yes, we will talk more about how this performs when we are actually behind the wheel. But as we're sitting here filming, it comes on to replenish the battery and turns off when that battery is good and full. I have been really impressed with the fuel economy numbers we're seeing with this one. The EPA rates it at up to 38 mpg in the city. Yes, that city number is the highest because, well, you can drive around using the electric motor for a good majority of the time with this hybrid system. In fact, the best we have seen is 37.1 mpg in our time with it, and that's in over 100 miles of combined testing. So very impressed with this. It also requires regular unleaded fuel and has a 14-gallon fuel tank. But closing our ash green metallic hood and taking a look at the styling, nothing really sets this one off versus prior years, except for the fact that this is a Trailsport. So we, of course, get the requisite orange Trailsport badge with all the black accents in this one. Gives it a little bit more rugged look. You'll see more of that rugged look as we move around the side, but it is a very clean, handsome design that I think really works and leads to y'all, the American public, making this the best-selling crossover for the past 28 years here in the US. As we come in close, yes, we have LED, all the lights up front. No fog lights on this one. That seems to be a going trend here in modern vehicles. No fog lights, but LED turn signals, running lights, headlights, all the things, and all the black accents to really set this one off. Now, I did intentionally leave this one dirty. It's got tree sap. It's got a little bit of dirt and rain on it, just to show you what this ash green looks like after daily use. Though don't worry, we do have B-roll of them nice and clean right after they are delivered. And then some of the things that make this Trailsport unique are our gray 18-inch wheels wrapped in Continental cross-contact all-terrain tires. Yeah, I mean, these are soft rotor tires at best, but we will talk about how they perform in a little bit. These are 235/60 R18 Continental cross-contact tires. As we pull out and take a look at the entirety of the vehicle, as with most crossovers, we get all that black plastic lower cladding, which gives it a little bit of a visual lift when looking at the overall side of it, making it look a little more tall and rugged. And then it also protects the paint if you actually do take this one off-road. And trust me, yes, I have taken this one off-road at speed. It's a lot of fun. We'll talk about that momentarily. We also get the boxy styling that the CR-V has been wearing for many years. As we pull around to the back, we do not have all LED lights back here. You can see we have incandescent turn signals, but LED lights for the brake lights. It is a very clean look, though it is dating the platform just a little bit, those incandescent turn signals. You can see we do have blacked out CR-V and hybrid badging right here. And as we come across the lift gate, we get our Trailsport badge right there. This is a power lift gate with an adjustable height setting. But when you open it up, you can see we get tons of cargo space in this one. With the back seat up, it is slightly less than what you would get in its biggest rival, the Toyota RAV4, at least until the RAV4 gets updated for the 2026 model year. And with the back seats folded down, you get slightly more space than the outgoing 2025 Toyota RAV4. But yes, this is an absolutely massive rear cargo area. The floor is nice and low, making it very easy to load stuff in. It is easy to fold those back seats down, but you're going to have to reach and do it from the handles right here or go around to the side of the vehicle. And because we have the hybrid, well, everything underneath this floor is not for our eyes because it is the hybrid battery. So you cannot lower the floor. You can't do anything to get underneath the floor. That is for the technicians to mess with and deal with. But we do have some additional storage here on the sides. We do have some tie downs all the way around the cargo area if you need it. And yes, more space right there. We do have a little bit of additional power back here. And then the most confusing logo badge representation of the entire vehicle right here. You have a gas can pouring gas at the bottom of a spare tire. Well, there is no spare in this one, but we do have a fix-a-flat kit. And the reason for the gas can on the logo is, well, you do have that fuel filler right there. So that is all hidden underneath this panel with, again, the most confusing little diagram on it that I think they could have come up with, all hidden right underneath there. And then, as I did mention, yes, we do have an adjustable height setting for the power hatch because the button is right here. You just hold to set the height. You can place it wherever you want and then just hold that button right there. Press it, it gives you a nice long beep before it starts coming down and lets you know you better get out of the way. Before we move inside this one, I gotta give Honda huge praise for their key. It is a proximity key and perhaps one of the smallest, most compact in the segment. Does not take up nearly any space in my pocket, in Holly's purse, and it has all the necessary buttons. You can even deploy a physical key from the bottom if you need it. But lock, unlock, remote start with a dedicated button, looking at you, Toyota RAV4, a hatch release, and a panic button, all very compact on a key that you can just keep in your pocket, in your purse, wherever you keep your key. And as you approach the vehicle, it is a completely passive system. So you can lock it by pressing those three lines right there. You can unlock it by grabbing the front door handles. Now, unfortunately, that is only on the front door handles, not on the back doors, but it does also apply to our capless fuel door here. So when the vehicle is locked, you don't have to worry about people getting into your fuel tank. But when the vehicle is unlocked with our black painted door handles, again, a Trailsport feature, you open it up and you're welcomed into a single interior color option, color and fabric option here with our black cloth and orange trim. Unlike the new Passport Trailsport that also gets a Trailsport Elite trim, we only get the singular Trailsport trim here. Honda's, I'm sure, testing the waters on whether or not this is a desirable trim. So we don't get features like memory seats, we don't get features like leather, ventilation, things like that. This is a more basic Trailsport, much like what we see on other models before the Passport really stepped it up with their Trailsport Elite trim. Coming to the door, you can see all of our controls right here. We have express up down for the two front windows, not on the back windows. You do have a window lockout here. All your necessary controls. You may even be able to see it. We do have some orange ambient backlighting, again, to go with our Trailsport model. You can see we get some textured plastic here. It is technically gloss black, but with the texture, we do not mind it. Nice padding all the way around, some synthetic leather here with some stitching. It is a nice overall design. You have some storage here and some storage down there. Coming into the floor mats, you can see we get all-weather Trailsport branded floor mats that do a good job. You can see they even come up the side, so if you were to spill a liquid in here, I guess maybe it would roll to the front, but if you had mud and dirt in here, it's definitely not going to move to the back, so that is very much appreciated. Here we have a 10-way power adjustable driver's seat, though again, no memory setting. We do have two-way lumbar. And taking a look at the seats themselves, hi, my shadow, yes, but we have Trailsport embroidered here on the headrest, all the orange accent stitching, and multiple different textures to the cloth here. We even have this synthetic leather segment right here, but you can see just all the different materials used to make these a very premium cloth seat. They are heated front seats, so that is nice, and something that we have really come to appreciate are heated cloth seats, because it really is like a nice warm hug on a cold winter's day, which we do not get that much of here in East Texas. As we climb in and close the door with the key in my person, you heard the little Honda chime, and the gauge cluster comes to life a little bit here, the Honda logo and the hybrid. But to bring the entire vehicle to life, I'm going to put my foot on the brake and push the start button right there. Now, because we are in a hybrid, the engine doesn't necessarily fire up. It did here, simply because of how low our battery is right now and the fact that the HC is on. But typically speaking, it can fire up with just a few chimes and all the electronics coming on. But without the letters EV right here on the gauge cluster, I know that the engine is actually running. I can hear it. It is not noisy, but you can definitely tell with the radio off when the engine is on versus when it is off. You can also tell when the engine is off, this does make a rather loud EV sound that I will attempt to get some B-roll of driving around here in this parking garage. Starting over my left knee, we do have a singular control here. It is the power lift gate, but 2 poverty blanks. Not sure what we're missing here on this Trailsport model. It's been a while since we have been in a CRV. Sound off in the comments. Help our fellow friends out who are watching this video that want to know exactly what those are for. Then we get the honeycomb style air vents that go across the entirety of the dash. This is something we see both here in CRV, we see it in Accord, we see it in Civic, we see it in a lot of Honda products. I like it well enough, though some people, my wife included, are slightly concerned what it would be like to clean. I think a California car duster or maybe some car goop, but we have it on good authority from Alex Dykes from Auto Buyer's Guide that the goop creates additional problems. Again, if you own one of these, sound off in the comments below what you think of how easy it is to keep clean. Taking a look at the steering wheel, typical Honda steering wheel. It is a heated leather-wrapped steering wheel, orange stitching. It is a manually tilt and telescoping with a lever right here. We get all the necessary controls here. We get all of our entertainment controls here, all of our cruise controls here. And these 2 roller wheels actually do control what is displayed in each pod of the gauge cluster here. So you can actually pan through several different things of information on either side. Here's where you can see we are currently averaging 36.1 MPG and 183.2 miles. We have seen as good as 37.1. We reset this every time we get a new vehicle, so that is actually stellar fuel economy. It is falling a little short of the 38 city number that the EPA rates us at, but again, we've done combined driving. I have no complaints with that fuel economy number, and you can see just how full our fuel tank is. We still have 239 miles to go, but those are controlled with the 2 roller wheels here. I like the steering wheel well enough. The leather is nice and soft in the hand. It's got enough of a thick rim to it that it feels very premium just driving this vehicle around. We do not have a head-up display in this one. We do not have anything fancy with our rear view mirror. It is a self-dimming rear view mirror, so nothing special there, but you can see we have a nice view out the back, even with headrest across all 3 seats there in the back. We have a 9-inch touchscreen infotainment screen here that does support wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, though because I am filming on my phone right now, we will have to show you that later. It's very simple to go in and connect. You also get some click sounds when you click on different things, so it does give you a little bit of feedback. It's not just like you're touching a piece of glass, which is exactly what you're doing. Moving down from there, we get dual zone climate controls, automatic climate controls. Work very nicely. I like the fact that we have physical controls. We do have heated seats up front here, 3-stage heated seats, which is very nice. And interestingly enough, when I turn that on, that turns off the automatic. So again, we have not had to use the heated seats in our time, but that leads me to believe the seat heat is tied to the HVAC controls. Again, sound off in the comments below if you own one of these and live with them a whole lot more and in various different climates than what we have here. We have 2 USB-C ports down here, one for battery only, one for USB-C interface with the infotainment system. This is where I will have one small gripe. Even though we enabled wireless CarPlay on our phones and on the device, you can see it's connected to my phone via Bluetooth only. When I scroll to my phone on the list, CarPlay is not even an option until I press on it. It's still grayed out. It'll be interesting to see if my phone actually connects. And will it? Will it? It's thinking about it. It hasn't connected automatically, which has been my main gripe. And now, yes, we're just kind of blacked out here. So I guess, yep, now it is actually connected. So we can go to CarPlay. Maybe. See, you can see we have a slight hiccup with the infotainment system. All that to say, we have resided to using the plug more often than not. But, oh, is it? Yep, there we go. Now we have our CarPlay coming up. Again, I am filming on my phone right now, so that could be a lot of what's making this go so slow. I'm not going to chuck all of that up to the car itself. And then down here, we do have a Qi wireless charger with a power button that I do appreciate because these typically don't work all that well. And when you turn off the wireless charger, well, then it is just a nice rubberized storage area for anything. You don't have to worry about that. We do have some additional power behind this charge port right here, all of which I really like. Just the big flat cargo area here. And then we do have a mechanical gear selector here for our non-transmission here, but when you put it in reverse, you can hear, yes, the angels are singing. That's just how loud it gets inside the vehicle, the electric vehicle noise. But then you have drive and B. B is your regenerative braking, and that is where these paddles come in play on the back of the steering wheel. You may be able to see next to the B, we have all those chevrons pointed down. With the paddles, I can either increase or decrease just how strong that regenerative braking is. And it is not quite strong enough to be considered one pedal braking, but it is a very good system. I've been driving around with it in B most, and that's how we will be driving around in it in a little bit. Down here, we do have our trail mode, downhill descent control, and you can adjust just how quick that goes from 2 to 12 miles per hour. You can see that in the gauge cluster right there, but I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. You can see we have 4 different drive modes: Sport, Normal, Econ, and Snow. But we will go ahead and leave that in normal from now, all selected from that drive switch right there. Electronic parking brake, electronic brake hold button right there. Now, we do not have a lot of gloss black in here. It is just relegated to this trim here. And again, this texture trim here, I like it. It's done tastefully. It works very well. We get this other treatment here, this nice black plastic here that works very nicely. You may be wondering what that is. That is my phone finally realizing we are connected to CarPlay. It is one of the automated sounds I have added on my phone just to remind everyone to put their seatbelts on. Moving back further, 2 cup holders with grippers, which I like. You can see Holly's already using this little storage area right here. Then we have a decent sized glove box here. Very large. You can see some trays could reside in here if you had them. We do not. Nice padded armrest here, again with contrasted stitching. We have the storage in the doors and a nice damped, very damped glove box right here. That is a little on the small size. But very well damped. Moving up, we do have some storage here for sunglasses up above, and then a standard sized non-panoramic glass roof, sunroof up above us with a manual shade. I like the manual shades, because you can just quickly open and close them. You can see I've got plenty of headroom in here. I do have the seat all the way down, but let's see what my seating position at 5'10" means for backseat passengers. Coming up to the back doors, again, you will need to unlock them before trying to open them because they do not have the passive entry system. They do open up very nice and wide for getting a child seat in place. I will be installing that in our family review, so if you want to see exactly what that looks like, be sure and hit the subscribe button. Taking a look at the doors, we get all the same materials and designs back here. Very nice storage there, a little bit of storage down there. Very nice. We get the same seating materials back here, though not quite as much on the design. We don't get that faux leather, but we still get the orange contrasting stitching. We get the contrasting inner portion. And again, it is a nice premium cloth. I've got no complaints. You can see we do have this lever here to recline or sit them up. I will go ahead and show you, this is the most upright seating position. That really is for the most of the cargo space back behind it. Just giving you a very upright seat back, but that is perhaps the least comfortable but most seating position friendly seating situation. We'll talk more about that here in a sec. You can see we do have a single piece all-weather floor mat down here that has already been doing some dirty work for us as we have gone to the pumpkin patch already this fall. Fairly flat load floor, even though yes, we do have a rear drive setup, so we do have a component going to those rear wheels from the engine, but very nice space back here all the way around. Even here in the center seat, I've got place for my feet, though can't quite fit them in here. It is still nice. I can fit one sideways and still fit comfortably, though the vehicle is a little on the narrow side, sitting next to Tucker's child safety seat. I would say this isn't where I would want to ride, but maybe 3 adults who are chummy with one another could ride back here, no problem. I do like that we get air vents on the back of the center console. They aren't in our favorite place in the ceiling, but at least we do have air vents back here. We do have 2 additional USB-C ports. No additional storage or anything down here on the rest of the center console, but I really do like this single piece floor mat. I like the very flat floor. I think it all works nicely. Interesting, we are missing storage on the back of the driver's seat, but we do have it on the back of the passenger seat. Very interesting situation there. Seems like a slight omission. And then as you can see, we do have stadium style seating. So panning around to me, I am a little closer to the ceiling back here, but we do have this nice cutout back behind, I guess, where the sunroof does open. So yes, I do have that. And then as I showed you, we do have this lever, so I can get very comfortable back here in my fully reclined seating position. Another thing I want to call out back here is the fact that we do have 3 across headrests, adjustable headrest back here in the back. We do have a fold down armrest with 2 cup holders, all of which are very nice. And you can see we do have the third seat belt here in the ceiling that does attach down here. So when you fold these seats down, you don't have to worry about that, but it is not a seat back mounted seat belt. The top tether situation for the middle seat is also a bit strange. As with most Honda vehicles, it is there in the ceiling. So if you do have a child seat here in the middle, very awkward top tether situation. Just something to keep in mind. That is enough of a tour of this one. Let's hop behind the wheel and see how she drives. So now you can see my driving setup, POV. Let me know down in the comments, do you like POV driving reviews? Because, well, this setup is very interesting to see around to drive, but it can be done. I do want to show you now that I have been driving this, exactly what it looks like for me as a driver. You can see a nice view of our digital screen here. You can see I've switched it to a digital readout showing where the power is going to and coming from, but you can very quickly scroll here and adjust what is shown there. Very good visibility out of all of our rear view mirrors, so I've got no complaints there. Again, I'm going to go ahead and put it in, we'll go ahead and do drive and sport mode first and foremost, because we are going to see exactly what this thing is capable of going 0 to 60, thanks to our partners from RaceBox with this GPS-based timer. You can get one for yourself, test out just how fast your vehicle is by using a link and promo code down in the video description below. Also, while we were driving around, I do want to talk about CarPlay. So I'm running iOS 26. You can see we've got widgets on the home screen now. I like it. It works very nicely now that I'm not filming on my phone while trying to show off with the projection of my phone onto the car's screen here. It works rather nicely. Now for acceleration, we're going to come out to our nice straight stretch of road here, and we're going to come to a complete stop. I'm going to stand on the brake with my left foot, stand on the accelerator with my right foot. That actually does turn the engine on. Ready, set, and off we go. It took a while for the vehicle to realize exactly what I was asking of it, but now you can see we are using 100% of the power band, and we get a very decent 7.3 second 0 to 60. Though it was a bit noisy in the process, that engine was revving all the way. There were no shifts because, again, there isn't really a traditional gearbox in this one, so we're not really going through the power. It was just blowing and going, revving all the way for that 7.3 second 0 to 60 run. I'd say it's decent, and I will say a lot of the work that has gone into this two-motor hybrid system has been to keep the power band more available to the driver at a longer percentage of the rev range of the engine, and it's just supposed to be an all-around easier platform and easier powertrain to live with and to drive. But we're going to go ahead and put it now into normal mode. I'm even going to put this back now into B, regenerative braking, and I'm going to do the max regenerative braking just to show you what that is like driving this one around. It's really easy in stop and go traffic to modulate your acceleration deceleration with just one pedal, though again, it is not a true one pedal system, so don't get it in your head that you're going to be able to come to a complete stop with this, but you should be able to modulate your distance to vehicles in front of you very nicely. Other things I want to call out, we'll go ahead back to the screen here. I was talking about just how much noise the engine makes and how much EV noise the hybrid system makes when the engine isn't on, which, as most of you know, is government mandated so that visually impaired people can hear the vehicle approaching even if the gasoline engine isn't on. All that to say, it is harder to tell when you're driving around at speed, especially on highly textured pavement as I am here now, when the engine is off versus when we are in full EV mode. But a couple ways you can tell is it'll say EV down here on the left side, and on this gauge cluster here on my right side, it would show that all the power is coming from the battery and the engine is darked out, dark gray, showing you that the engine is not being utilized. But for the most part, driving this around, it is really hard to tell when the engine is on versus when it is an EV. But if you listen closely, you can tell, though, again, with the 8-speaker sound system, probably not going to be an option. It is very seamless in its transition from the engine being off to on. You really don't know from a seat of the pants. Nobody not paying attention to it would know. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Holly asked me, oh, this is a hybrid? Later on in the week. It's just really how good this system works. It is very seamless to all the occupants inside the vehicle, even the driver, if you are oblivious to the gauge cluster and stuff in front of you, and you aren't listening for the hum of that 2-liter 4-cylinder under the hood. Otherwise, driving this around, it is a very comfortable vehicle all the way around. The suspension is very well suited for this vehicle. It isn't too firm. It is definitely not floaty. A complaint I've levied against the newest Pilot Trailsport, the first 2 times we got behind the wheel of it, that big 3-row crossover just feels large and floaty. This one does not. The suspension on this is very well suited for what it is. And then the tires, that in conjunction with the fact that we are on some very highly textured pavement here around the lake in East Texas. Yeah, we do get some road noise. I even get some wind noise from up above me, though we don't have roof racks on this one. I'm not quite sure why we get wind noise up there, but it is mostly quiet on the road. Again, this textured pavement, it does not help all that much in the grand scheme of things, but you are paying a slight penalty for those tires on fuel economy and overall noise transferred in the cabin. They do make a little more noise than a true on-road tire, but when you're getting the Trailsport, you want that rugged off-road look, and that's exactly what you get here with this one. Now, I am currently carving windy roads around the lake, but I did have time behind the wheel of this one on a dirt course with no speed limits, and I was truly impressed with the powertrain in this, with the four-wheel drive system in this. I put it in sport and pretty much laid the hammer down. I really lament not having my cameras set up for my little drive session because I was smiling and giggling the whole way. I'm very impressed with how many front drive based crossovers like this that there are on the market that I was able to test on that track and see that they would in fact step the tail out under throttle in the right conditions. It made for a very fun, thrilling drive in sport mode at speed on a dirt course meant for that. So just all that to say that this is a fun powertrain. Honda hasn't made this a complete utility box or an appliance on wheels, something I've kind of in the back of my mind attributed it to Honda before taking on this role, reviewing cars every single week. I have been really impressed with a lot of the Honda vehicles that we've gotten. This being the first Trailsport hybrid. Yes, you are getting the best fuel economy of all Trailsport models, and it is also the smallest Trailsport model. The Passport is definitely the most rugged and most capable Trailsport model of the entire line, but this is probably going to be their best seller across the line because, well, the CR-V is the best selling crossover for the past 28 years in its own right. And then you just add a rugged off-road trim to it and make it a hybrid-only powertrain. It's a formula for success here in 2026. I think it works very nicely. I've got no complaints on the powertrain. It works well. The 0 to 60 acceleration proved to be very competitive with others in the class, though the competitive set is changing very rapidly. Hyundai and Kia just updated their competition in the segment with the Tucson and the Sportage, respectively. They have some really good hybrid powertrain options. I like the style and the panache of those vehicles a little bit better than this Honda, but this one really is a good setup. Then you've got the new 2026 Toyota RAV4 coming. That really should give this one a run for its money, so expect a new CR-V in the very near future just to keep pace with the main rival in the segment. And then you've got a host of other vehicles as well, but those really are the big four in this crossover segment, though Ford Escape, Chevy Equinox, GMC Terrain, the list goes on and on. This is the most popular segment in the automotive business at this point in time. Now, as we are coming to the end of the twisty bit, we're going to do two more acceleration runs just to see a little more real world what this is like. So I'm going to take us out of B mode, put us in drive. We're still in normal. I'm going to move from the brake to the accelerator. Ready, set, and go. That responded a little bit more, knowing exactly what I wanted it to do, and sets us off. We are slower here in this one, but not quite as much. 871. So wow, quite a difference there, over a second slower. I was not expecting that, but not brake torquing it, not putting it in sport mode, things like that really do add up. We were going uphill slightly, so we're going to do that once more in the opposite direction, going downhill slightly, and we'll see if we get a better run this direction. Ready, set, and go. The engine fires up almost instantly as I mash the throttle. So again, very responsive setup there, 8.27 there. So yes, that is more the expected result in normal mode, just flogging it and pressing it to go. So very impressive numbers. Definitely not the slowest that I've tested from this brand or any others. Very impressive overall performance. And then again, you've got that rugged look of the Trailsport model. You've got all the usability of space in the first, second rows and in the cargo capacity. This thing really is a champion, and I can see why so many of you have bought these over the years. This really is a good, solid vehicle. It's not the showiest in the class, but it is definitely worth a look if you want a roomy, spacious, affordable vehicle with a lot to offer. As spec, this Trailsport model comes in just under $40,000, and that is even with the optional added cost of this ash green metallic paint, which again really gives it a nice premium look. It is one of their new Trailsport colors. I think it works very well. I'm very, very impressed with this overall package. I would very happily drive this one day in and day out, with my only real complaint for us as a family of three, the fact that we don't have memory seats on the Trailsport model. Again, you can opt up to higher trims that don't have the rugged off-road look of this Trailsport, still get the hybrid powertrain. You can get leather seats, ventilated seats, you can get all the luxuries you want, just without the rugged look. Perhaps the next iteration will give us a Trailsport Elite, a lot like what we see on the new Passport. If you want to see more from me here on the channel, you can go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and ring the bell so you are notified when future videos drop from us. Our next video will have Holly here behind the wheel, Tucker back in his child safety seat, and we will talk about what this is like for our family of three. Holly will give you her impressions driving it around, and Tucker will give you his thoughts from the back seat. You can find us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, you name it. Everything is at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. But as for me, behind the wheel of the 2026 Honda CR-V Trailsport Hybrid, until next time, gearheads, bye.